Yes, in our earlier class, we were discussing regarding uh, strategic management, and we discussed two of the case studies. One is with regards to Twitter, how it is trying to bring more and more people to use the application, and the one more we saw is um, the case study of Singapore Airline Limited. That is how, instead of going with all the data facts, it went on with intuition and how did it change its strategy. And we discussed regarding strategic formulation, implementation, evaluation, and we also discussed regarding integrating intuition and analysis. In our today's session, let us discuss why is that a business has to adapt for the changes. Now, the basic objective or the basic meaning of strategic management process, uh, or to to speak about the ideology of the strategic management process. Now, it is all based on the belief that organizations should continuously monitor both their internal and external events and also trends that are happening so that all the timely changes can be made as per the necessity. Now, speaking about this, when we compare one business organization with that of the other, now the rate of changes and the magnitude of changes that affect organizations are increasing dramatically. Now, as evidenced by how the drop in oil prices caught so many firms by surprise, firms like organisms evidenced by sorry now firms like organisms must be at adapting. Now adapt is nothing but should be quick enough for changing, or if the company is unable to adopt for these changes, or if it is not quick enough to understand the environment, then definitely there are a lot of chances that they may not survive in the business. So, to survive, all organizations must identify and adapt to change. So, this particular thing that we are speaking, that is strategic management process, it is aimed at allowing organizations to adapt effectively to change over a long run. Now, with this context in telling why adapting to changes is very much necessary, I would like to quote Waterman. Now, he noted that, I quote, in today's business environment, more than in any preceding era, the only constant is change. Successful organizations effectively manage change continuously adapting their bureaucracies, strategies, systems, products, and cultures to survive the shocks and prosper from the forces that decimate the competition. So now whatever we had discussed up until this point with strategic management, now those are the few key points that Waterman has said in this particular quote of his. Now going further, if we take into consideration under political map the entire world, now the boundaries between countries may be clear, but when we do the same on competitive map, which is able to show the flow of financial and industrial activities, there is no any boundaries, or the boundaries have been disappearing. Now, the speedy flow of information has eaten away all kinds of national boundaries, so that people worldwide readily see for themselves how other people live and work in different places. Now, when we speak about this goods and this business, now, the entire world has become a borderless world with global citizens, global competitors, global customers, global suppliers, and global distributors. Now, even yourself as a customer, you might have ordered certain goods or services from those who are not residing in your country. Now, many firms headquartered in one country, you know, they shall be challenged by the competitors who are based in different other countries and even different other industries. Now, to take an example in, manufacturing stuff, or, this automobile industry we shall take. Maybe the car industry. Now there are a lot of producers, but now the Indian manufacturers, they have huge competition, not from the producers of their own country, but also from competitors of other countries like Toyota, Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, or Volkswagen, Kia, and such other. So the need to adopt to change leads organizations to key strategic management questions, such as what kind of business should we become, or maybe like are we in the right field, or should we reshape our business, or what new competitors are entering our industries, what strategies should we pursue, how are our customers changing, or with technology, are new technologies being developed that could put us out of the business. All these questions are to be asked by the business for themselves continuously, so that they can know that if there are any changes necessary, they can adopt to all such changes. Now, in today's world, what has happened is that internet promotes endless comparison shopping. It enables customers worldwide to band together or demand discounts. The internet has transferred power from business to individuals, and this is undoubtedly true. Now, buyers used to face big obstacles when attempting to get the best price and service, such as maybe limited time and data to compare. But now, consumers can quickly scan hundreds of vendors, offering both a number of people shopping online, and the average amount they spend is increasing continuously. So, in today's world, digital communication has become the name of the game in the marketing. So consumers today are flocking to blogs or they send tweets, or they watch and post videos on YouTube, or spending hours on maybe Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, LinkedIn, Tumblr. And maybe in this lockdown, even you have watched, there are a lot of people who are doing business wherein which they put updates of certain products that they are selling in their WhatsApp status also. So those whoever sees it, those whoever wants to buy it, they would just drop a message. They would have the conversation regarding the price, and if both the one who is selling and the one who wants to buy are agreeing, then there is a transaction happening. So from this we can understand how internet and digital marketing or digital communication has changed the game of business. Now, most traditional retailers boost in-store sales using their websites to promote in-store promotions also. So these are some of the facts which tells that why in this era of fast changing business, it is very much necessary for our company to adopt for the changes. Okay, I hope those who want to maintain notes, you people are having it, and that you have taken down certain points. If there is any topic that you want me to repeat, do let me know. Okay, so I guess you people are either clear or you people did not listen at all. Now, under both the circumstances, we shall move to the next. So now that we have discussed, a case and certain things about strategic management, in brief, or if you have to define strategy, or if you have to tell the meaning of the strategy, so how will you be able to tell about it? So, what is this strategy? Now, if it has to be spoken in brief, now the complexity and also the sophistication of business decision making, it requires what we call as strategic management. Now, managing various and multifaceted internal activities is only part of the modern manager's responsibility. Now, this struggle for existence and growth is, it is very much hard for firms in today's competitive environment. Now, fortune of companies change, sometimes very fast and also in a very drastic manner. Now, many multinationals with annual turnover larger than that of, GDPs. Oh, now, what is GDP? It is gross domestic products of most nations pass through periods of huge losses sometimes. Now sometimes mighty multinational companies who are industry leaders are humbled by young firms under these circumstances. Now, why does all this happen? So there are some of the points that, as we understand, might be international business or the strategic business or how the way the business is happening nowadays, we can understand it. The first one is how the business used to be done earlier. Now the foundation itself is changing, or what we call as the ground rules, especially the ground rules of the competition, is changing very much rapidly. Now, industry borders are being redrawn. New industry and products are created and established. And also, industries are reinvented. Now, if we observe, we can observe this very much in smartphone industries. Now, the competition is so severe that particular company or a particular brand, it usually comes up within the new version of their smartphones, very much rapidly, maybe within 3 to 4 months or 5 to 6 months. Now, that is how severe the competition is. Now, one more thing that we can observe is that what earlier we used to call as managing for future. Now, this particular quote, as in where they used to tell manage for future, it has turned something called as compete for the future. So, in brief, what we can tell is managing for the future has become competing for the future. And one more thing is the environment changes are so rapid that it is forcing companies to change their vision, objectives, markets, and also competitive strategies. Now, in specific, if we speak about Indian business, now the what happened before 30 years was one of the major event that had happened, that is the economic liberalization of 91 and the concomitant wide opening of business opportunity with increase in competition. They have in fact made strategic management a buzzword here in Indian corporates. Now, if you see, prior to 91, the scope or need for strategic management in India was limited due to, the controlled regime and absence of or limited competition. Now, the liberalization has, however, vastly changed the scenario. Now, this we can speak before 30 years. But recently, if you observe the change of business, maybe from 2010 onwards or the past 10 years, we can give importance for the digital communication and the use of internet in business. How they have changed the face of business. Not only you in reaching your customers or your customers reaching different other competitors of yours, it is benefit for both the parties if you see. Now the information moves faster because of this digital communication. And even for the companies, when we take earlier, you had to go through, maybe you sell your product, you manufacture your product, sell it to a wholesaler, he then sells to retailer and ultimate customer. But now with the digital age, with the internet of things, you can have a direct conversation with your end customers themselves. So with all these things, how the strategy of the business should be is also changing. Now, Speaking about all this, you know, the external environment, especially the immediate external environment of a firm, it poses a second set of challenging factors. Now, this immediate external environment are, includes competitors and such other external, facts which directly has a effect on the firm. Now, whenever profit seems possible, or the suppliers of scarce resources, or the government agency monitoring adherence, and also the ever growing number of regulations and customer preferences, these are some of the facts which are to be anticipated so that you can manage your business well. Now, this remote external environment or the immediate external environment, it also contributes to, pervasive climate in which a business exists. Now, this environment, as we have already discussed, consists of economic conditions, social change, political priorities, or technological development. Now, each of these should be anticipated. They must be mentioned, assessed, and incorporated in top level decision making. However, these influences, they are often subordinated to the one of the major consideration in executive decision making. Now, that is the multiple and often multiply inconsistent objectives of the stakeholders of the business. Now, this particular topic that you will have to discuss in detail. We shall do it in within this chapter in the coming sessions. Now, these stakeholders are could be the owners, the employees, communities, customers, and even the country when we speak in terms of it being a large concept. So, now speaking about this strategy, strategy especially refers to those set of perspective management measures taken with a view to ensuring the survival and also the success of an enterprise in a competitive environment. If you want, I shall repeat it. Strategy refers to those set of perspective, those set of perspective management measures, those perspective management measures taken with the view, taken with a view to ensure the survival and success of an enterprise in a competitive world. Now, every other fact that we discussed regarding strategic management with these 2.5 sessions, you should be able to speak all about it with the help of this one particular meaning or definition. Okay. Now, there is one management researcher called as Kenichi Ohim. Now, he observes or he has given one definition regarding strategic management in his well known book, that is The Mind of the Strategic Competitive Advantage. Now he tells that perhaps the most significant improvement in management process came in 1970s as long range planning or new venture management. Now under all this, planning, programming, budgeting, and business policy were blended with increased emphasis on environmental forecasting and external as well as internal consideration in formulating and implementing plans. So, this all encompassing approach is known as strategic management or strategic planning. Now, these are the words of Kenshi Ohen. So, if we have to speak about this definition in a simple way, now according to this, strategic management is defined as, the set of decisions and actions resulting in formulation and implementation of strategies designed to achieve the objectives of an organization. Now, to those who want to take down this meaning, I shall repeat it. Strategic management, strategic management is defined as the set of decisions and actions resulting in formulation formulation and implementation of strategies designed to achieve the objectives of an organization. Now, having said this, okay, this strategic management, it involves the attention that has to be given to, if we have to list out, it it consists of 9 critical areas. Okay, there are 9 different levels of strategy, where I mean 9 different levels or 9 different areas. On all these things, strategists puts attention into. Now, in that sense, the first one is the mission of the company. So, when you speak about strategic management, so the first and the foremost thing is that a company or a firm, it must be able to determine the mission of the company. Now, speaking about this mission, it also includes, broad statements about the purpose of the company, the philosophy of the company, and also even the goal of the company or the goal of the business. So that is the one of the areas which strategic management puts its attention on. Once after that is done, the next is regarding the company profile. So it requires every other firm to develop a company profile. So it reflects internal conditions of the company and also capabilities of the company. Not only that, when you assess the company profile, it will also let you know if there are any kind of weaknesses in the company. Now, even this particular thing shall be known. Once after company profile is done, The next area that it takes into consideration is the external environment. So, what is with the external environment? So, it tries to assess the company's external environment. Now, when we speak about this external environment, it is a very large or wider concept. So, speaking about external environment, it assesses in terms of both, competitive and general contextual factors. Now, once after it assesses the external environment, now it tries to analyze. Now, it tries to analysis of the possible options that are available. So it analyzes of the possible options which are not yet tapped. And why is it necessary? It does so that it can match the company profile with the external environment in which it is doing the business. Once after it is done, later it also identifies all the desired options which are yet not being covered when possibilities are considered in the light of the company mission. Now, once after doing all these things, next comes the objective of the company. Sorry, next is the strategic choice. Now, strategic choice of what is the important question. Now, this strategic choice of a particular set of long term objectives and also the ground strategies, they need to achieve the desired options of the company that it is willing or that it is trying to achieve. Now, once after that, it speaks about the annual objective. Now, mission and vision, or speaking about mission, it might be long for a longer time period. So, development of annual objectives and short-term strategies, which are compatible or which goes along with long-term objectives, and the main strategy or the grand strategy of the company is also very much necessary. Or in other words, when you plan the strategic management, these are the areas that you would be putting attention into. Now, once after this comes the question of real implementation. That is to tell, no matter on paper, things might be very, very interesting, might be very future for the company. But it all boils down to whether it can be implemented or not. Now here, implementing strategic choice decision is based on budget resource that is available for the company, and or how the budget is being allocated, and emphasizing the matching of the task, people, structure, technology, and the reward system of the organization. Now, if all goes on well, everything is fine. But if things does not go as it is wished by the company, then once again things are to be rearranged. That happens in the last area, that is review and evaluation or evaluation. Now here it is review and evaluation of the success of the strategic process to serve as a basis for both control and input so that it can help future decision making. So these are the 9 critical areas to which the strategic management throws light on. First one is mission, next is company profile, next is assessment of external environment, the fourth one is analysis of options, fifth one is identifying the desired option, next comes the strategic choice that we speak in terms of long-term objectives and also the basic strategies. Then comes the annual objectives. Now we tell that it has to be such that it should be able to link short-term strategies and long-term objectives. And even the basic strategy or grand strategy what we take. Then in the eighth step we implement the strategies, and in the ninth we review and evaluate. So these 9 areas, it indicate that, if we go back to our principles of management, so these 9 areas indicate that strategic management always involves the planning, directing, organizing, and controlling of the strategy, which are related to the decisions that are to be taken in the company and the actions of the business for managers. So this strategy means their large scale, future oriented plans for interacting with the competitive environment so that they can optimize achievement of the organization's objective is possible. So what can we say about this? So we can tell that, having discussed so much, this strategy represents the game plan of the organization. It is all how a business does its day to day activities so that its ultimate aim can be achieved. Now, one thing we can observe here is that competition is the heart of strategy formulation. Now, it is when companies had to face competition, especially severe competition, that is when they started to give more and more attention to how better and better their performance could be. Now, now this might be a little bit confusing. That strategy is, with competition. But if you understand the origin of the word strategy, you can or you will be able to relate it better. So, this particular word strategy, so it is derived from the Greek word strategia. I'll spell it STRATEGIA. Now, this strategy is derived from the Greek word strategia, and it represents the meaning, or it is connoted with the art and science of directing military forces. So what happens in military? They'll be having very limited resource, and they, with those limited resource, they should be able to manage as long as possible. So this strategy is thus, a well thought out systematic plan of action. So the strategy is formulated in anticipation of the possible positions, moves, actions, and reaction of the rivals or the competitors. Or we can also tell that this strategy is a systematic plan of action to defend oneself or to defeat the rivals. Now, saying all this, if you observe, the particular point that we are discussing right now is nothing but the features or the characteristics of strategies. So be smart enough in taking down whatever you have to take down. So whatever we are discussing right now is nothing but the features and the characteristics of strategic management. So this business strategy, as we discussed, it is a well thought out systematic plan of action for survival and success. And it has been formulated in such a way that due consideration of all the possible positions and all the defensive and offensive moves and all kinds of relative strengths and weaknesses of the rivals and the vice those of the company are being taken into consideration. I'll repeat it once again. Business strategy, here it is nothing but it is a well thought out plan of action. Now, if I have to speak in terms of management, it is a systematic plan of action. Now, why did they come up with this plan of action? They have come up with this for both the survival of the company and also for the success of the company. And now, in coming up with this plan of action or in formulating this particular plan of action, due consideration has been given, especially for all kind of possible positions, that is both defensive and offensive moves, and all the relative strengths and weaknesses of both the rivals and vice versa, those of the company has been taken into consideration. In simple words, what we can relate is as this could be the environment of a game of chess. So the same happens with the strategic management in business world. Now all the moves, all the strengths, all the weaknesses, the defensive moves, the offensive moves, everything shall be considered. Now, discussing about all these things, though this strategic management or business policy or corporate planning are, interchangeably used sometimes. But there is little difference between them. That is strategic management, corporate planning, and business policy. That is to tell, you know, even in the absence of competition, a company can have its corporate plan or a long term development plan. That is, even in a monopoly environment, uh, companies will have their corporate strategy. Or if we observe, if we see, observe Indian economy before 10 years, these telephone industries and Cochin refineries, they used to have corporate plans, but they were not corporate strategy or strategic management. But however, when the corporate plan is formulated in a competitive environment, it becomes what we call as corporate strategy or strategic management or business policy. Now, this planning premise and the nature of plan would obviously be different in such an environment. Now, for a public sector enterprise, rapport with the government is a crucial factor. But when there is more autonomy, the emphasis and the nature of plan would be different. So, greater autonomy would mean the public sector undertakings will have to rethink their portfolio strategies. And one more difference is that strategic management is a broader term than corporate strategy. Strategic management consists of corporate strategy and also business strategy, or we can tell that strategic management is a composite strategy. So, we shall move on to the next particular topic, that is definition. Now, now there are some of the definition given by different people, associations, uh, management researchers, and also management thinkers. Now, the first person that we have taken is Gluck. Now, this person, he defines strategy as unified, comprehensive, and integrated plan relating to strategic advantages of the firm to the challenges of the environment. So it is designed to ensure that the basic objectives of the enterprise are achieved. Strategic management is defined as that set of decisions and actions which leads to the development of an effective strategy or strategies to help achieve corporate objectives. I shall definitely define it, but then I have not given it in the PowerPoint presentation because you people, I have observed the last 3 semesters, you never write a correct definition. So, it is better that you understand what it is. And even though if you write properly, you do not write the names of exactly those people who have given it. So, you understanding strategic management is very much necessary than you people biting the definition. So, that is the main reason the definition I have not put up in the slides. Now, Gloom tells that it is a combining fact or combining force or a unified thing. It is a unified, comprehensive, and integrated plan. Now, plan which is relating to the strategic advantage of the firm. All these advantages that it makes so that it can undo the challenges of the environment. And it has been designed such that it ensures that the basic objective of the enterprise can be achieved. So strategic management is defined as that set of decision and action which leads to the development of an effective strategy or strategies to help the cooperative objectives. So you can take down those who need. That is, according to Gluck, strategic management, strategic management is defined as is defined as that set of decisions, that set of decisions and actions which lead to the development of an effective strategy or strategies to help achieve to help achieve corporate corporate objectives. Okay. Now moving on to the next one. Now this is in the words of Pine and Norman. Now these two people they tell that strategic management, okay, it involves decision making and the activities in the organization. But what kind of activities? They tell that the activities which have wider ramifications or which have a long term perspective and which uses critical resources towards the perceived opportunities or threats in a changing environment. So, all these activities and in deciding how it shall be met is nothing but strategic management. So, according to Pine and Thomas, strategic management it involves the decision making and the activities in an organization which has first one a wider ramification, second one a long term perspective, and third which uses critical resource towards perceived opportunities or threats in a changing business environment. So that is strategic management to Pine and Naufma. Now, according to the Corporate Planners Survey, now this particular association is from United States of America. Now, according to them, strategy it includes the determination and evaluation of alternative paths to an already established mission or objective and eventually choice of alternatives to be adopted. Now they are speaking, uh, you know, they have not spoken about the external environment, internal environment, uh, pointing it out distinctively, but then they are telling what the company does. According to them, it includes determination and evaluation of all the things that are to be done. And these things that are to be done, they have already established, maybe regarding the mission or objective. And also, in the process, they have to choose among the alternatives as to which one is to be adopted. So, Three of the definition we have seen. We shall see one more definition and the opinion of some of the management thinkers in the coming class.